G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. Today I've got this beautiful little shimpaku juniper again. I love shimpaku junipers and I think a lot of my clients now know that's my strength. This is a client tree, belongs to someone who dropped off this tree. This customer actually bought trees off me, different types, but then he realizes, you know, we can really create something really beautiful out of this shimpaku. And let's see what we can create. So you can see now pretty much most people go, this is beautiful, leave it as it is. Nice foliage, nice healthy tree, really good, nice flaky bark as well, interesting. But let's talk about this tree. It does have lovely movement, it's actually quite nice, interesting tree. It's got a nice twisty kind of trunk, which is good. Lots of nice healthy foliage, really good. It's got a bit of a bare patch in here, which is a bit hard to see. Bit of a bare patch in here. That's easily be fixable by dropping a branch into there, so no problems there. But you know, ultimately the owner doesn't want to have too much change on this tree, which is fine, which is good. But for me, there's a couple of things that really need to happen. This apex is kind of coming over this way. It'd be nice to fit that back more towards the middle. So try and get that bent more towards the middle and have a more have the apex more indirectly in the middle of the tree. Trying to aim for it there. The tree's movement side on looks really good. It's got a nice position, in the pot, nice position where it should be. Not a huge fan of the bit that comes straight out and then twists. I'd like to, if anything, it might be nice to tilt it a little bit. Just tilt it a little bit this way, just to fix that angle. You know, just have it going a little bit that way and then around, which is fine. But having it straight and then doing the movement sometimes a bit jarring for the eye. So if you've got a tree like that, think about just tilting it a little bit this way, and then when it comes to repotting season, repot it into that angle. Quite normal, very normal process we all do with trees. I am contemplating maybe putting a bit of shari along this bit here. There's a nice bit of deadwood here. I'd have the shari maybe going, a little bit of shari going up here will look really nice. There's kind of a bit of a reverse taper in this section, so I'd like to make something here look really good. But again, what do you think I'm going to say next? This tree is purely wiring again. Wiring, that's my favourite thing to do on conifers. Why? You can put lots of wire in this tree, sub branches, tertiary branches, you know, everything fully wired, it'll look magnificent. We'll have to drop a few branches into different areas, but let's get the position of the tree first into the position I like, and then look at the cleaning up some of this area here, trying to do some deadwood feature, and then look at wiring this tree. So that's the process. Clean up, find the front, clean up all this bark. Might take it off and find the nice live vein and dead veins, etc. Probably all live, but you know, the old flaky bark will fall off anyway, and you get the nice reddish bark underneath. You can see that when I flick it with my fingers. So it's nice to see that, and then do some shari work, and then wire the tree. Alright guys, we'll come back when I've got an update. So here's the progress so far. I've cleaned up the trunk line, trying to keep it nice and clean, trying to take the old bark off. I put a little bit of a shari here with this little gin, and you notice the plant angle change of the pot. Different angle, slightly different angle. And as you can see, obviously I've wired the first big strong branch here, and then the second branch, and there's a back branch here. It's also been wired, just sitting in nicely in the back. Pretty straightforward. You start wiring down everything, padding them out, making little pads in different areas. So there's one down here, little one up here, little one there. So they're all individual pads creating one whole big pad. So eventually this will all fill in and become nice big pads along the way. Same thing with this, but that's the number one branch, that's the strongest branch. Now the angle change gives you that slightly coming out of the pot at a slight angle, which is really important. Nice twist around, and now I'm starting to wire these branches. So we've created lots of space for all these branches to drop into, creating a shorter tree. I will endeavour to, I might be okay now with the pot angle change, but I was going to actually try and bend the apex a little bit more that way, but I don't think I'm going to need it, because now that is kind of will sit almost, the top will sit almost on top of this part of the trunk in the middle. So they're probably aligned a bit better. Might have to do a little bit of a guide wire that way, but at the moment looking pretty good. So again, just wiring. It's all about wiring, guys. Number one thing to do, bonsai. especially with conifers, you've got to wire everything. Every single branchlet is wired. So I've gone, so I haven't needed to wire the trunk because it's already done, but I've wired the main branches, then the secondary branches, and I've had to come in some of them, the smaller tertiary branches, sometimes. So yeah, very important. That's how you get the nice pads. That's how you get the nice design. So as we drop everything into the places, into the spots, the tree gets shorter and much more refined. I'm at the stage with this tree where pretty much I've wired and positioned everything from up down here. So I've only got this apex bit to do. Now, rather than see a before and after shot, I thought I'd show you one of the key elements of trying to do the apex that I find is really important. I've probably said this before a few times, but you need to have the space. You need to create space for the apex to fit into. So all these branches that have been dropped down and moved down and positioned, there's gaps and spaces for all these branches to drop into. So for example, we've got a big space in here we can drop this branch into, and we'll work through it. This will be the apex part we'll build of the top of the tree. But then there's a space in here, space in here, space. So there's a few spaces. So the first thing is probably this branch. I'll drop it into this space. And I've wired all the branches so that I can just create the nice pads. Pluck anything underneath. If I need to cut, I'll come in and cut. No problem at all. So it's getting a bit long. So pluck underneath. But I've put it into the space. And then what happens if you put into this space, you get spaces above start to get created. But so that now sits in there. It's a little long, so I'm going to come in and pretty much take it out. Take out the wire, then take out the branch, make it a bit shorter, pluck underneath, and then that's looking pretty good. Now it's just nicely positioned in there. Now I want to look at this branch here because there's quite a big gap. So I've already wired everything, so move that out of the way. Again, just try and find the gap for it. There's too much foliage, so I'm plucking things that are going underneath, and it's probably too long. But I'm trying to fill in this gap. So it's probably just too long now. Then again, look what's happened. I've created another gap in here. This is for some of these branches now to come in and fill in this gap. So that's what I do. So I go around, start to branch at a time, lower them down, put them in the spaces, and then you find other spaces for the rest of the tree. Once you get to the apex, it's just creating that rounded crown. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, have the space, put the branch into the space, and then off you go. So I'll just finish this off now by putting everything into the spaces. Okay everyone, so after about 5 to 6 hours of wiring, probably around 6 hours of wiring actually, this is the finished product. I love the angle change, slight angle change. Really emphasizes all the beautiful movement of the tree now. Very subtle, very elegant, and then it's all pretty much wired. It's just wiring. The trick, not the trick, but the tip is to create space for the branches so they can fit in when you wire them. So creating the space for the next one to come down, next one to come down, next one to come down, and you create the space. You still have gaps and negative space and a bit of, areas that aren't all full of foliage, but it's nicely positioned and layered. This is pretty much my normal routine, normal styling. I definitely pad out all the branches. Lovely shimpaku, really nice foliage. These now I just have to pad up and get really nice and full. Now this tree's got quite a bit of foliage on it, so it's good and healthy. So I don't envision the wire cutting anytime soon. Probably can stay on for about a year before I even think about trying to remove it, because this tree is now really slow growing. It's not like it's it's not like it's growing really fast and it's got huge branches everywhere and creating massive growth. It's just nicely subtle little growth slowly growing nice and steadily. That's pretty much it. Nothing else really to say. I really like the look of the tree. It's really elegant, very traditional looking tree. Hope the owner likes it. He'll be picking it up in a couple of days, and I hope he enjoys it. Just the slight angle change, I'll have to explain to him how to repot it at that angle change, and we'll position some guy wires or wire so that they can see the new angle. But really, this is just wiring, guys. Find the new position and then just wire the whole tree. I pretty much wired every single tertiary branch as well, pretty close to all of them. So there you go. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed that video and we'll see you soon.